Got traffic there. Blaster, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a lowest downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you cleared land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Kennard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Kennard's going to have to go around. Kennard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Kennard?
Yeah, Kennard.
All right, Kennard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Kennard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever's here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
go. We are finally back after, I don't know, at least weeks and weeks and weeks, months, it seems like, off during the summer. We come back and we're looking forward to it. It's bloody lovely out there. The good news is Jimmy is in the room. Hello, Jimmy. Stand by. We'll get to you in a bit. So don't worry about that. If you're here for Jimmy, and Jimmy only, who could blame you? But he'll be here after the news, which is coming up. So we're going to get a bit of a wiggle on. First thing I have to do is the traditional thank you very much, Sky Demon, for supporting the live stream. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. We've got a very special new tip for you. And this week it's from Rob, and it's all about, well, you can find out what it's all about. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Rob from Sky Demon, and here's another top tip.
Gaffle are useful weather forecasts that are focused on a particular route or area and are designed to give a quick view of whether a flight through that route or area is go or no-go based on cloud ceiling and forward visibility. They are produced by weather authorities in the countries that use them. Turn Gaffle on from the weather menu, like this. You should immediately see the bulletins appear as routes in Switzerland, Austria, and some neighbouring countries. The forecasts cover 6 hours and are depicted with 3 boxes covering 2 hours each. Each box has a letter that describes the state of the route: open, difficult, marginal, and closed. A little black triangle marks the current time, so you can see that we're about halfway through this box here. Of course, you can open the What's Here menu to see the forecast in detail, including the reference altitude for the route, which is usually the highest terrain elevation. In Germany, Gaffle bulletins are given as areas instead of routes, but they work just the same, except there is also a clear state, which means there's no cloud forecast at all. You can see the colours around the borders of each subdivided area, and the forecast box in the middle. And again, you can open the What's Here menu to see that forecast in detail. For more information, check out our website www.skydemon.aero.
Blimey, that's a really powerful tool.
It's good. I have to say, I'm not sure if I was like flying around Switzerland or somewhere thinking, I need to go through that mountain pass, and it says difficult. I go, maybe I'll just stay in the bar and have another beer. Or in honour of Jimmy, who's not there, another Mountain Dew.
Yes.
So good. Right. Let's move on swiftly because
live stream, the Reno race is live, no contest. Pete Engel is going to fly live stream.
Bring in Simon, the weather forecaster. We're going to your weather forecast. Oh, let's take that away for a bit. Simon, hello. Have you had a great summer?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Have you guys, it seems so long since we've been here, doesn't it?
It does, but we're very happy to have the return of the shirt.
Which is why I've kept it big, so that everyone can see your shirt.
It's got to be done. We've got to continue summer, haven't we? We've got to keep it going. That's the reason I put this one on tonight. I thought
absolutely. Okay, so give us news about summer then.
Okay, right. Well, is summer going to return? It will do to some extent. I wanted to show you these pictures first of all, because I just love looking at these hurricane pictures this time of year. This is Hurricane Lee, which is currently heading its way slowly northwards east of the US. It's actually going to be making landfall in Maine, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia on Saturday and Sunday. When it makes landfall, it's not going to have a huge impact there. But what these systems are doing, if I just show you this picture as well, this is the satellite sequence from earlier on. You can see the 2 hurricanes there that are in the Atlantic. That's Lee that we've just looked at. This is Margot, which isn't going very far. But what these are actually doing is having a knock-on effect to our weather, particularly to weather forecasts, because the models really always struggle with such intense areas of low pressure. So it's my excuse for the forecasts not particularly being as accurate as we'd love them to be over the last few days. And it's something really you should expect as well as we go through the next couple of weeks. Just incidentally, a very quick one for you. Can you just see here on the satellite picture over the eastern parts of the Atlantic, that little bit of haziness that's there? That's Saharan dust. What about that? And without that Saharan dust, hurricanes wouldn't be able to form. It's fantastic, isn't it? I just love looking at these pictures. There you are. Don't say you don't learn something here on the live stream. Okay, on to the forecast then. No hurricanes here. Now, didn't the weatherman say that at some point? So I've got to be quite careful, haven't I? repeating that line. But no, I don't think there's going to be hurricanes. I'm 99.9% convinced there won't be hurricanes here this weekend. This is the forecast for tomorrow, for Friday. Been a real miserable day here, a couple of miles south of Halfpenny Green today. Low clouds, been really dull, and not a very pleasant day. I'm pleased to say that across much of central and southern England, it looks as if things do improve for us tomorrow. In fact, southern England's not been that bad, and I think tomorrow looks like been a reasonable day of flying. Bases above 4,000 feet. Remember that these are our cloud-based forecasts here towards the left. There are the cloud bases here to the right. You can see that that front moves into Northern England and Eastern Ireland tomorrow. So bases here probably are going to be coming in at around about the 1,000 to 2,000 foot mark during the course of the day tomorrow. Well, along the line of that front, it looks as if we do find some outbreaks of cloud and of rain and drizzle and some mist to boot as well, whereas Scotland looks as if it should be having a fairly fine day. Now, for Saturday, fronts on Saturday, again, still hanging around, mostly northern England, northern parts of Wales, possibly just clipping southwest England as well. Here, quite misty, quite dull, bases about 1,000 to 2,000 feet. But you see here, look, we're relatively cloud-free for central and eastern areas, bases around 4,000 foot plus, and also for much of Scotland as well. And for Northern Ireland, it looks like we should be generally okay, all thanks to a little ridge of high pressure. You see there, that little nose of high pressure moving in from the west. One or two showers just affecting the southwestern parts of the Midlands and Wales in the afternoon. But overall, it's not too bad a day. Northern England is really going to be the one that suffers, I think, during Saturday. Sorry about that. Sunday, more unsettled day. Low pressure down towards the southwest, gathering some strength, puts rain through southwest England, southern parts of Wales into central southern England as well. Some further rain affecting southwestern Scotland and parts of the far north of England. But if you can escape those, so I'm thinking sort of North Wales, northern parts of the Midlands, East Anglia, probably northern parts of Scotland faring better. Higher cloud bases there, certainly much better visibilities too. And overall, not a bad flying day. Quite breezy in the south, though, I should say. So I think the better of the flying days, I think we've got to say, is going to be Saturday. Now, on to weather school. Yeah, weather schools are back as well. I've got one place remaining on my course, my classroom-based course, on Saturday. That's this Saturday, the 16th of September. So if you want that, go to weatherschool.co.uk and you can book your place on that now. And then next week, I'm running my evening courses, my online Aviation Weather School Part 1 courses on Tuesday the 19th and on the 26th of September. It's a consecutive course that runs on those evenings between 6:30 and 9 p.m. So if you want to book your place on that, again, weatherschool.co.uk is the place for you. So you can come in to the classroom, or you can do it online, whatever you like. Okay, right, I'm off to look for a few hurricanes. Have a fantastic weekend. It's great to be back. Enjoy your flying.
It is great. Before you go, Simon, quick question. Not sure if you've got a quick answer for this or any answer in the comments.
Yeah.
Radiation. Is there more cosmic radiation for commercial pilots over Siberia than elsewhere?
Yeah, there is, isn't there? I think there is. I think generally the further north you go, so as you're going over the pole, there is more cosmic radiation there. So it is more intense. I know that there's a lot of research that's going into it now because our old sort of beliefs about radiation, the impact that it was having on pilots is kind of being refined all the time. So new techniques have led us to kind of focus on different areas of the globe where we didn't think it was there before. But I think still the sort of received wisdom is, yeah, it's more intense the further north that you go.
Is that why they all glow in the dark?
That's exactly the reason why, Ian. Well done.
Excellent. Great. Thank you very much, Simon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good to be back. See you soon.
Simon.
Cheers. A quick reminder, if you've just tuned in recently, Jimmy is here. He's in the room. He'll be here after the news. But first, we've got a little new feature that we're just adding in. Won't take very long. Question of the week for you to discuss in the comments, and we'll talk about it later if we have time. In honour of Jimmy, our question of the week is, how many aeroplanes have you owned over the lifespan of your flying? And that includes a share. So if you've had a share, that counts as one. So quick go round here. Dave, how many have you owned?
One. Alaskan, of course.
Alaskan, of course. Johnny?
One, an RV.
I'm at 3, which was an Oster, a PA-28 and a 182. Ed?
That's good. I'm at 5.
Ian, Ian, didn't you part own a Europa at least?
I owned a box of carbon glass fibre that never made it. But yeah, no, I didn't.
No.
Okay, right. What were yours?
RV6, RV8, RV2, RV3s, and a Cub.
Wow, bit of a trend going on there. Bit of a trend going on. Right. Okay, we want to get to Jimmy quickly, so let's have a quick look at the news. What have we got, Dave? I think you're up first on the news.
Yeah, first of all, it's Wellesbourne Airfield. Now, there's a new master plan for developing the airfield that's been announced by developers working for the owners of the airfield. Good news is air operations will continue with a new runway. The runway will be located further west than the existing one to allow for a new industrial. This map is turned through 90 degrees because otherwise it wouldn't fit on the screen. But you can see in blue, there are new industrial units, and they're going to be basically built up to round about where the existing runway is going to be. As well as the new runway, there's going to be new hangars, aircraft parking, maintenance facilities, new control tower, a cafe lounge, and areas safeguarded for airfield tenants. It looks like a workable plan, and you have to say mixed use is probably the way to go for more airfields. But, and it's a very big but, we have to find out which comes first, the industrial units or the runway, because if it's the industrial units, they have to close the existing runway while they're building them. We've heard the plan. This is just off the what do you call it? Off the shelf, not the shelf, off the record. Off the record, it's been the plan is to build the first industrial unit, and then use the funds raised from the sale of it, to build the rest. It's going to have to be one heck of a golden goose, that industrial unit, because what do you reckon for a new runway? 5 mil, if you're lucky.
It's got to be. We were looking at numbers for was it something like £30 million for a mile of motorway, isn't it? And that was a number that we found for like over 10 years ago. So even if you're really generous and you go 5 million to stick a runway in, that's going to have to raise a lot of money.
I've got a runway quote today. Between 3 and 10 million is my quote.
Yeah, judging by the reactions of Jimmy that viewers can't see, I reckon he knows a guy that could probably do it cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, you know what? If they're waiting on the money from the first unit to build that runway, I'm gonna say that it's never gonna get a new runway.
Yeah. Well, the plan is yet to go before Stratford District Council, the local council, who still have the power and have got it in their back pocket to compulsory purchase the airfield, and whatever they're going to do with it, I don't know, but they still have that power because they really want the airfield to continue as an operating airfield. So let's keep the pressure on them and see what happens.
Maybe the council will fund the new runway.
You never know. Maybe anyway. Right. Runways need airplanes, Ed?
Runways need airplanes, and airplanes of the future could be powered by liquid hydrogen. And we know this because there was a successful series of flight tests last week by a company called H2Fly, a German developer. And they carried out a number of what they call the world's first piloted flight of an electric aircraft powered by liquid hydrogen. They made 4 flights, including one that lasted for 3 hours. Now, obviously, it's a sophisticated test aeroplane. It's an evolution of a Pipistrel product where they stuck 2 gliders together to make a 4-seater. But this is exciting stuff. H2Fly used the HY4 demonstrator. It's got a hydrogen electric fuel cell propulsion system, and it has cryogenically stored liquid hydrogen. Now, compared with pressurized gaseous hydrogen storage, the use of liquefied cryogenic hydrogen enables significantly lower tank weights and volume. I was thinking of Jimmy's famous "Can I get a clear prop?" and you certainly won't get "Can I get a liquefied cryogenic hydrogen?" will you? So,
can you imagine you just taking you pop up on your PA-28 and you go, "Yeah, I need the 50-hour on the cryogenic system, mate." All right, we'll sort that out for you.
In a way, avgas stickers are nice and short, aren't they? If you've got to have a sticker on that says liquefied cryogenic hydrogen, it's going to get cool.
Don't go anywhere hot. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, H2Fly is saying the liquefied hydrogen is going to lead to increased aircraft range, more useful payload. And the results of the test flights indicate that using liquid hydrogen in place of gaseous hydrogen will double the maximum range of their aeroplane. Johnny's so excited about this, he's combusted. The HY 4 has now gone from 750 kilometres range to 1,500 kilometres. So this is part of a European government-supported consortium project called Project Heaven. And I'm not sure that's a great project name for an explosive gas-powered aeroplane, but but we will see. And H2 Fly, they're leaders in fuel cell systems, and they're talking of technology for that being used in commercial aircraft, which will be capable of operation up to 27,000 feet. So it's exciting times. Oh, Johnny's just having an office explosion there, Johnny.
Yeah, that was all. I just want everyone at home to know that was all scripted. That Johnny did that clearly, because
that's it. We return with our famous production values.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Well, you were saying that's going to lead to longer range and better endurance and all that rubbish. I think it's also going to lead to larger development grants. And then I think to have put my cynical cap on today.
Yeah, definitely. What we say is no smoking when there's definitely no smoking when refueling with that.
No. Johnny.
Yeah.
Are you there? Are you with us?
Yes. So, Reno, the world's fastest motorsport, is back. It's the last ever national championship air races at Reno this week after 59 years. It's finishing at Stead Airport. I'm still here. I'll keep going.
You're much more entertaining as the blue dots bouncing around on screen. This is nice. I like it.
There we go. It's been one to remember already for a few reasons. And there's been some really good numbers, like Jeff Lavelle doing 410 miles an hour in a glass air.
Wow. Yeah, it's quite the glass air. It's like twin turbo and...
It's not called Cameron, is it?
It's not called Cameron, no.
Okay.
No. And also P-51 Badar Special is here this year, and I'm gone again, but I'm still here. That aircraft took part in the first show back in 1964. And back then, it was a guy called Chuck Lyford who flew it.
Yeah.
And he flew it in the Harold's Cup, which was a transcontinental trophy dash from St. Petersburg in Florida to Reno. So you actually raced to Reno to then race at Reno, which is great.
And it's amazing that they've got this aeroplane. It's raced at the first and the last Reno. So
yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
No, there was some dramatic video, which I think was posted on Monday, of Dreadnought the Sea Fury, which seemed to show it blowing its engine. Saunders Aeronautics posted online that it kind of suffered, as they said, a series of backfires and then lost power at pylon 8. And the noise, if you've not seen the video, is quite dramatic.
Yeah.
As the forced landing, I think it was Joel Swager flying, who converted probably 400 plus miles an hour into a couple of thousand feet pretty quickly, and then did a very steep approach onto one of the runways and managed to stick it on perfectly. But that big prop must create, if it went to fully fine, it must create a heck of a lot of drag.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, that kind of probably explains that steep approach. But obviously we reported back in, I think it was June, that Reno this year is the last time it's going to be held there. And it's supposedly going to Las Vegas Spaceport now. So it won't obviously be called Reno, but it's a national championship air races. But it'll be going to Vegas in 2024. Although the current issue is the spaceport hasn't been built yet. So,
okay.
Although they have apparently the spaceport group, the Reno Air Racing Association haven't, I don't think, actually released any comment yet. But the spaceport group have said Warbird, Jet, and Formula One will be part of the new event. So they'll have to build the spaceport and then put up some telephone poles.
They might not have built the spaceport, but they built a website where you can actually go on and spend thousands of dollars on tickets to book your RV in, to book premium slots in the stands and all sorts. It looks quite expensive. I don't know how much the real Reno is, But anyway, it's quite chunky. Right. Okay. Lastly, last bit of news. It's all about Wingley. Wingley are basically, they might not like me saying this, but they are kind of at war with the CA and the DFT. And the CA and the DFT do appear to kind of have it in for Wingley. Although I have to say, to be fair, they deny that completely. In fact, a comment by the CA came back saying, look, there's been cost-sharing rules since 2000. EASA liberalised it. We're a regulator. We have to look at these things and make sure they're working. They also said, I kind of said to him, okay, so where's the evidence that this is based on? And they went, well, that's kind of difficult because you don't log it, whether it's cost sharing or not cost sharing. So we can't actually tell. Okay, right, fair enough. And then there's some changes coming up with advertising, which they kind of said, well, that came out of the consultation. So that's what you guys asked for. Right, okay. And then Wingley are kind of also saying, look, if this goes through with the proposed changes, then we're effectively closed down in the UK. And the CA, both the CA and the DFT say, no, that is not our intention. It won't be illegal. No, nobody said it'd be illegal, but it'll just come take the bit. So who knows there? And then last but not least, the CA said that they are undertaking, along with the DFT, a de minimis assessment, which is a kind of impact assessment light, to see what will happen, and they haven't actually started that, so they don't think any changes to the regulations will happen until at least the autumn of 2024, which I guess is, will be coming up to this time next year. So we're going to try and get and talk to Wingley a bit more, and we're going to get a bit more out of the DFT and CA, but certainly there are kind of some funny things going on, and it's one of those things that runs the risk of having quite a few unintended consequences if we're not careful. So keep your eyes peeled for the Wingley thing. So that there you go. That goes on that. Right. I see that Jimmy is currently here. We have, first of all, a little promotional film to play you as soon as I can find it, and we'll be straight to Jimmy after this.
Hello, this video is sponsored by us, the Fly Club. And if you're not a member already, we'd love for you to join.
Members get access to all of our content, our free landing fees every month, exclusive webinars, and much, much more.
It costs just £5 per month to become a member, so head on over to flyer.co.uk/membership or click the link in the description below.
It's a proper good deal.
It's a bargain.
There you go.
Very good.
There you go. You know what to do. Go and join. Right. Let's bring Jimmy on. Let's make you. Hello, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, what happened there? There's two of us disappeared. Hang on. There you go. There you go.
I feel someone's going to have to say, "Can I get a clear prop, Jimmy?"
It does happen. It does happen. And you get, and it depends on the day, right? So it's, can I get a clear prop? Yes. And say it with some gumption there. But I was curious to know. So in the promotion video, it said something about landing fees. Now, I've never flown in Europe or in England, and that is definitely on my to-do list. What I have heard is that there are fees for everything, even approach fees whenever you're doing your instrument approach, and as in the U.S., we don't have any of that. Now, when you go to some of the more popular airports, you'll have landing fees unless you buy enough fuel and then they waive the fee or something like that. But I've never heard of approach fee or something like that. What do you guys call it whenever you're coming in for instrument landing and there's some other fees and things? What is all that?
It's an approach fee. It is an approach fee, but basically most of the time for training, you have to phone up and book your slot so you can get an approach in the first place. Then you pay a landing fee, an approach fee, a parking fee if you stay a bit longer. Then in some places you pay a security fee. It's fun to pay, isn't it?
A security fee. So do you have your own armed guard that stands out by your cub or your something like that? That'd be pretty cool.
No, it's just a scam. It's just a scam to get more money out of you. Right. So before we carry on, just in case there's anyone here who's been in a coma and is not aware of Jimmy's world, here's a very short compilation going back a long way, partly to embarrass Jimmy, of Jimmy's world.
Hello, and welcome to Jimmy's world, where I'm probably going to go bankrupt doing this. So I bought this plane, the Cherokee 180. I went and got another plane, and I'm buying it today. It is this, a 1974 Cherokee 6. Behind this gate are 3 airplanes that I just bought. The 310 is the one I don't know about. He's coming down. We got us another project. Yes! So I'd like to make you an offer.
Okay.
I got $1 with your name on it.
Okay.
Would you take $1?
I'll take $1.
Today is an awesome day. We're going to see about bidding on the Elvis private jet that was abandoned 35 years ago out in Roswell, New Mexico. Everybody's favorite. Can I get a clear prop? Holy crap! I just bought the Elvis jet. Holy crap!
So you need to work on not being quite so shy.
I'm telling you, yeah, and the mustache, you know, you can thank my wife for that and Top Gun Maverick. We went and saw the movie, and we get home, and she's like, "Babe, you would look really good with a mustache." And I told her, "I'm the man of this house. I will say what happens." And do you like my mustache? It's
very fine, Jimmy. Very fine.
I think maybe next week we might all sport a Jimmy's mustache. We not get one to grow it. We'll have to get a little longer. So I guess, you know, clearly in that, I think that one where you might go bankrupt was probably your very first video, or the very first video I could find. Have you gone bankrupt yet?
Yeah, probably multiple times. But you know, the magic thing about the United States is you can get debt anywhere.
Fantastic. And then clearly that was just a small section. I couldn't, if I'd have pasted together every single time you bought an airplane, I think we'd still be here watching it now. So you've got some kind of MiG jet somewhere, a Harvard somewhere, 6 airplanes in the middle of somewhere in Texas, which occasionally start. All sorts of other bits and pieces. Cameron, obviously Cameron, the famous Cameron. Welcome to Cameron.
Yeah.
How many airplanes? The 310, of course, the save the 310 thing. How many airplanes do you actually own?
I'd have no idea. If I counted, I would have to admit I have a problem.
Okay. Jolly good.
And I'm here, and I just bought 2 more airplanes than my first helicopter. And then on Monday, we're going up to Seattle to look at another airplane.
Boeing.
Cessna Textron product. Now, if you ask me a different question, say, how many airplanes do you own? That's one thing. Then you say, Jimmy, how many airplanes do you own that fly? Then I would have to say 2.
So that's a 310?
The 310 and Cameron are the only current ones that are in annual, and everything is, you know, ready to go for flying. Then we have the Aztec, which we just got flying after 8 years, but we're going in depth with that one. I just bought something else. Well, actually, that video will come out tomorrow. So another Lancer that, spoiler alert, I'm going to be selling Cameron because I found this one that is much, much nicer. And then I found another airplane that has the engine in it that I think we can amp up the BTUs in it for you know, your British viewers. We can amp up the BTUs to make this newer Cameron 2.0 much, much faster.
Oh, wow.
Running through your videos, there seems to be a lot more buying than selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the selling
I
is
haven't figured that part out yet.
Okay. And just the ones in Texas, did you manage to get rid of them in order to get a free airplane for Silas or something?
The backstory behind that one is, after I did those series of videos, the deal that I had negotiated with the owner was that I would buy them, pay for them as I took them out of Texas. And we had got the Luscombe and the Cub in annual the week we were there, so we were going to fly those out. And I did pay for the Mustang, 2/3 Mustang airplane. And then I got a call about 2 weeks later, a week later, and he said, okay, you got to go ahead and pay for all the airplanes and just come get them whenever you want to get them. And I'm thinking, no, I can't do that. I'm not comfortable with you having all of my money and all of the airplanes. So I told him no, that, you know, my understanding was our deal was I'd pay for them as we got the airplanes out. And unfortunately, I got the Mustang, I guess, paid for. I still haven't got it out of there, but I paid for that. So maybe on our trip home from the West Coast here in the U.S., we'll swing by Texas and see if that plane is still there or not. I have no idea.
Cool. And so, I mean, I think one of your at the early stage of your video, there was a huge number of videos of you refurbishing Bertha, the Cherokee 6.
Yeah, that's where it all started. I never in a million years did I think this is what I would be doing for videos. I did that purely because I was doing it anyways. And I just took out my little cell phone like you see here and just started recording. No editing, no script or anything. I just thought of recording anything that was kind of interesting that somebody with a mildly twisted sense of humor would find interesting. And then that's kind of where it went. And here we are today doing some very, very crazy things.
Yeah. What did you do before? Or have you always been in refurbishing airplanes and someone just bought you a camera phone?
Yeah. My background, I'm an entrepreneur, and my background is in mechanics. So I've always, since I was a little kid, found things, fixed them up, and then traded them off for the next project. That's just what I've done my whole life. I went to school as an automotive and diesel technician, and then I went to college after that I think you guys call it university, to be electromechanical engineer. And then I had my own business where we did performance work, restoration work with classic cars and exotic cars. And that was until the big financial crisis of 2008. Then, of course, everybody stopped buying really expensive toys. Then I got into real estate, since that was kind of a good time to get into real estate when things were cheap. Then did okay with that, and then ended up doing some more stuff. And I've only been a pilot I've only even been around airplanes for about 3 years now. Well, 3.5 years.
Wow.
So your ratio of aeroplanes to years flown is like you're like the world leader.
I don't. I'm an example of everything you're not supposed to do.
But is it good fun?
It is. It's a lot of fun.
So, I mean, how many? I mean, I know we pay for everything in the UK, but even in the US, you still have to pay for things like hangars. Do you have like hangars, a hangar in every port, as they say?
Yeah, so we have at Plant City, I have a hangar, and then I've got airplanes scattered all over the country. Everything from down in Texas, like you said, to Mississippi. That's where the T6 and the MiG are. And then currently, well, possibly in Seattle, and then here in Oregon. I mean, they're everywhere, all over the place.
So tell us the story of the Elvis jet.
Oh man, the Elvis jet. So here's something that most people don't know about that. And through the video series, I've known, well, Mecum Auction put out the video about, was it September now? So it's been almost a year ago. I think November is when they put their video out about finding it, and it was going to go up for auction in January. And then before I ever even registered to bid on that, I already knew that it was going to be put on a bus chassis and the little tag things cut out of it. And that's how we were going to pay for it, and then do a tour around the country with it. So all the in-between videos are just me creating a video of my thought process during those months before I actually bought the jet.
And so how much of the auction, I didn't get it, someone phoned me and said that they fell through and you can buy it thing, how much of that was, to use a polite word, contrived for the series, or how much of it was?
Absolutely none of that. That was all live. That was the actual call. Everything
Oh,
that
wow.
you heard on that video was the actual call. And I cut out probably 45 minutes of the call just because, you know, it was just us talking back and forth and not a whole lot going on. But that was the actual call. Now, what I know, because of my background with the automotive world, I did a lot of cars through Barrett-Jackson, through Mecum, through some of the other bigger car auction sites. And that is the standard game, if you will, is that you'll get a phone bidder or somebody out in the crowd, and they have a reserve on the car, or in this case, the airplane. And I knew that the reserve, because I had talked to a few people, I knew the reserve was about 300,000. So I knew that all I had to do was be one of the actual bidders on the floor, so that when it did not sell, I would be the one they would call back first to then start the real negotiation. And that's the you know, the unscripted, the behind the scenes stuff that nobody thinks about. But absolutely nothing that you saw was scripted. It wasn't reacted, or, you know, none of that was. It was the real thing. That was all the real phone calls and everything. But I knew enough, because I've been through those auctions before. That's just the standard game that gets played. Is the auction's job is to get as much money for that thing as they can, and they have a reserve on it. So the auction, legally, they can go all the way up to that, and they can even start the bidding or anything. They can do anything they want. They don't have to sell it unless it meets the reserve, and then they're bound to sell it by contract. But me, as the bidder, knowing that, you got to go into it with a different mindset, that it's not about getting it from $0 and going up to see how cheaply you can get it. You have to know that it's for sale at 300,000, and can you get it less than that? So that's a different mind shift that you have to have going into these auctions like that.
Clearly wasn't your first radio, as I believe you say in America.
Yeah, no. And what's funny is I cut out probably 10 minutes of before the auction of me describing exactly how this is probably going to go, and it went exactly that way, which was really kind of mind-blowing, because I was sitting there in the bleachers saying, okay, well, they're probably going to start out at this. They're going to have a phone bidder, and here's a fun fact. In the auction world, when you see a closed hand like this, that means they have real money, which means they've got somebody on the hook. When they have an open hand like this, that means they don't have real money. They're just kind of going, hey, 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 like this. And it's all about the hype and getting excited in the moment and stuff like that. So there you go, for you auction people. Now you have a little secret auction lingo.
Wow. And then so then you find yourself with this Elvis jet, which you'd already decided what to do, but you know, you can't just, it was never going to fly anywhere. You can't just, where is it now, in Florida or somewhere, or is it somewhere else?
It is. It's with me in Florida. Yeah, we're working on it now. We're trying to do measurements and get everything ready for it to be mated up to the RV chassis.
So, and the whole tag thing, that kind of, the sales of the tags are going okay. How much are they? How do people buy one? Let's do some promotion for anyone who wants a bit of Jimmy's World.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you can go to savethe310.com. The higher serial number tags are, what are they? The price just went up, $329, I think, $329 US. And then the lower serial numbers are $529, I think. And the lower ones will come with an 8x10 matting and stuff for framing, and you can make them all nice and display. And they're not just key tags. They're meant to be a memorabilia. They're all serial numbered. They're all signed with a certificate of authenticity. So I wanted it to be special. And this is the only jet that will ever do this, that Elvis Presley privately, personally owned.
And how much is tag serial number 1?
Well, we gave that to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So we donated that to them, and they auctioned it off, and I think they raised over $6,000 for that tag.
Cool. Cool. That's not
Yeah,
bad
and
at
so
all.
for all of, we donated the first 100 tags to charities to help fund our veteran and our other aviation charities. So once those sell, then that'll help fund all that nonprofit work that we do to help veterans get their license. Because what's funny, well, in the United States, for the U.S. military, there's something called a GI Bill, and whenever they get out of the military, they can use it, and they can use it to get their pilot's license to become a commercial pilot to go work for one of the airlines. However, the one catch is it will not pay for your private license, which is the first step that you need to then get all the other endorsements to then go fly with the big airplanes. Well, that is also one of the most expensive licenses there is to get. And it can be anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. And most Army and military people, they don't have that kind of money sitting around where they can spend it on that. So that's where we come in, is try to help offset some of the costs or cover some of that money so that they can get their private license. And then once they do that, the military benefits will kick in and then pay for everything after that.
So not to be too nosy, but given that your purchases have outnumbered your sales, is that a critical thing for you, or is the whole business about something else now?
Well, so I do sell some of the airplanes, and I always try to buy them for less than parts value. For worst case scenario, if they're not able to fly again, I can always part them out and sell the engine or propeller or something to be able to get my money back out of it. And I also take into account the advertising money, which honestly is not enough to pay for all of this. So yeah, it's kind of it's a tough balance, just like any business. I bring in inventory or these airplanes, and then I have to account for how much it's going to cost. And again, there's no way I would be able to do it if it wasn't for a lot of the sponsors, like Homing and QAA and a lot of the other companies that have joined us to be able to help offset some of the cost of getting these airplanes flying again. So I'm really, truly thankful that they can see the value in this as well.
So the Cameron's getting sold because it's too slow or not good enough, or not as nice as the one you can buy, and you're buying another Lancer that's gonna, I don't know, you're gonna call it Cameron 2 or something. And is it still a bit of a challenge to make that fast, or?
Not really. I mean, there's a limit, right? So even in the Reno air races, which you were talking about, they're happening right now. There's a whole class for this Lancer and Glacier two-seater airplanes. Most of those airplanes will go somewhere in the neighborhood of 230 knots, which that's kind of the limit, just because, you know, it takes so much exponential more power to be able to go faster to overcome the drag of just the design of the airplane itself. And for me, my goal with this airplane is 250 miles an hour, which is roughly 230 knots. And I mean, there's lots of those that do that right now. So and then after that, we'll just have to take it one knot at a time. So we just have to see.
Get Silas polishing it.
Your plan is to have the fastest 4-cylinder 2-seat airplane in the world.
That's the goal. Yeah. This may be a lifelong journey, but that is the goal.
The journey is the reward. You know that.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And
sorry, I was just going to. I've got one last question before everyone else can pile in. Out of all of the airplanes that you've owned, the many, what's your favourite? What's the one that kind of like makes you kind of go?
That's easy. That is easy all day. If I just want to go fly something, it's the Lancer every single day of the week. That thing is so much fun to fly.
Wow. Wow, cool. Ed, have you got anything? Johnny,
Well,
Dave, or the comments?
You may have the answer, but is there anything? Do you ever? Clearly, you sit down and you see a lot of crazy aeroplanes for sale, but do you ever sit down and flick through Barnstormers with like a serious Jimmy head on, and you go, actually, I would really like one of these? And is there something that you like? Jimmy dreams of owning one day.
Yeah, that's easy. Ever since I found out about the Aerostar Superstar 700, it's the fastest piston twin airplane ever made. I've been looking for the right one for, well, since I've been in the aviation world, so roughly 2.5 years.
Yeah.
However, what I've come to discover is that it's kind of for a twin engine cabin class type of airplane, it really doesn't make a lot of sense with family and people that want to be comfortable as passengers, because it's a pilot airplane and it's just made to go fast, and other people are just going to deal with it. Whereas the reality is I probably would be better off with a Cessna 421 series airplane that had a bathroom and had some room for,
people,
kids and wife to move around and actually enjoy the flight.
Yeah. If you get one of those like JCB, I don't know if you call them, you don't call them JCBs in the States, like a big tractor bucket thing on the front, an earth moving vehicle. If you get a 421, you can use that to scoop up $50 bills and put them in a hole. You can just about keep up with how much it costs.
That's right. And then just light it on fire so you can at least stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you ever seen the Aerostar called the Spirit of Kaitak? Oh,
not in real life, not in person, but I do know of the airplane. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to be flying with the son of one of the creators of the Aerostar.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking forward to doing that. Yeah.
Wow.
Here we go. Skycrow says, I could see Jimmy owning a Beach Duke. That seems like your kind of airplane.
It is. I've been tempted by the B series, but it's the Lamborghini of airplanes, right? It looks super neat. It looks cool, but finding parts for those things and just the sheer expense of it, I think the ownership experience would be fun at first because of what it is, but it would grow old real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So the Lancer video is dropping tomorrow, you were saying?
Yeah, the new Lancer. Yeah, the one that I bought from the Evergreen Museum, and I open it by saying it hasn't been out in 10 years. Well, that's not true. It was 20 years. It was November 13th of 2003 was when they flew it there and parked it there. And I go out and see if we can't get this thing running again. And that'll be the airplane that I'll take back to Florida with me to replace the current Cameron.
So that whole thing about can you start the airplane seems to be quite a big thing in the little niche that you're in.
Oh, sure. I mean, who doesn't like finding something that's been sitting for a long time and hear it come back to life? I mean, that's to me is the neatest thing.
I have to say, some of the airplanes that you've dealt with outdoors under very old tarps, and it's like, I hate spiders, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, you would not like this. No, there's usually spiders involved with most things. I can deal with spiders, even an occasional scorpion in the shower, but whenever I draw the line at snakes. Whenever the snakes come out, Jimmy's out. I'm done. I'm gone.
How many times have you dealt with snakes? Snakes on a sail.
Well, you'll find out tomorrow. That was that was the first for me tomorrow.
Okay.
Cool.
So, Jimmy, can I ask a question? Yeah. Do you remember saying, I have no idea how terrible a decision this is, but I have a feeling I'm about to find out?
Yes. That's pretty much my motto.
That was when you went to buy the MiG-15, the T6, and I think it was a Beech Twin. Yeah, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened there? What happened? Did you mentioned the MiG already, but have you flown it yet? I mean, you admit you have no jet experience, no tailwheel experience in that point anyway. And so what happened?
Correct. Yeah. So that deal was the Beech Twin. It was a T-56, and I wasn't interested in that airplane. That was just an extra plug for them to help them sell it. I ended up striking a deal on the T6 and the MiG-15. The MiG-15, once we got it started, and here's a behind the scenes note, I had to add a shaking thing to the GoPro to make it look like it was moving, because it started up and ran so smooth that you couldn't even tell it was running on camera. All you could hear is the noise, and then you could see the little heat wave on the ground, and that was it. So I had to add an effect on the camera to make it look like it was shaking, so you could even tell that it had started. But it did. The first time, it was amazing. So I ended up selling that MiG to another gentleman who had already purchased a MiG-15 and was in the process of restoring that, and he had already done a MiG-21 and a MiG-17. So I knew enough to know that was way outside of anything that I should be messing with, that it was still a flyable airplane. And if it was not going to fly again, then sure, I'd go and mess with it and cook turkeys with it or roast marshmallows or something like that. But because this was an airplane that would fly again, I knew that I didn't know enough to be messing with it, because myself or somebody else flying in that airplane. But this gentleman has experience. He's already done it before. So I sold it to him with the agreement that anytime a major point is, he gets to a major point on that airplane, I get to be there to film it. And at some point I get to get a ride in it. That's our agreement. And unfortunately, it just takes a lot longer it just takes forever to do this stuff. Especially when I'm working with somebody else's schedule and they have their own business to run and their own life and things happen. So I'm just kind of at the mercy of his schedule. The T6, ironically, for the MiG, we had the fire trucks there. We had the whole everything set up. And the T6, that's the one that caught on fire, and there wasn't a fire extinguisher for 200 miles of that place. But that one, I ended up, the son of the gentleman that had passed away a number of years ago, he helped build the airplane, and so he spent a year getting it in annual and going through it really, really in depth. And I'm still waiting. At any day, I'm supposed to be going and getting it and flying. It's supposed to be flying, ready to go. All the fuel pump stuff that caused the fire has all been replaced and rebuilt, and I'm just trying to wait on whenever we can get confirmation that it's done and go get it.
Very good. So there you go. There's someone in the UK never thought resurrecting an old abandoned Apache, and apparently he was inspired by you, Jimmy.
Well, I apologize. I am sorry for that, because you have to really love the process.
When are you going to come and fly in the UK?
Oh man, I'd love to. My goal with the airplane that I'm going to look at in Seattle is I'm trying to find, and this is the same with that Aerostar, I'm trying to find an airplane that I can do a Jimmy's World Tour with and be able to go around the world. And we're going to start taking some of these airplanes in my family, because I got Silas right here next to me. We're gonna try to start doing more adventures with the airplanes. So taking them to different places where you can only get to by airplane or boat, and seeing how that goes. It's one thing to find the airplane, to fix it up, to fly it. It's a whole different thing to actually use the airplane to take your family and do some really cool once in a lifetime type stuff.
I bet. Brilliant. Well, we thank you very much for that. We've just squeezed a little bit over. So a couple of people here. Someone like Jimmy as a mate. I'm sure you could become a pen friend. You can sell your services. I'm not sure if it's that kind of mate, but we'll carry on. A few other bits and pieces. So we're just about to move into something called Fantasy Hangar. And this week we're choosing airplanes that are a celebrity airplane. So I'm guessing you're going to go with Elvis's jet.
Yeah, that Jetstar's, that thing is awesome.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you want to hang around just for a few minutes, as we're running a little bit late, we'll have a quick run through. And Dave, you can hit your celebrity aeroplane choice is?
My celebrity is a Ryan PT-22, and this is inspired by Harrison Ford, of course, the actor, who famously had to force land one in a golf course in California. I think the PT-22 is such a lovely looking aeroplane, nice and simple, and I'd love one of those, absolutely love one. Of course, it's far better suited to the weather in California than the UK, so I'd probably keep it at Sonoma Valley Airport in up around the wine country, north of San Francisco. I went there once, and I just fell in love with the place. So I'd keep it there, just dip over to California every now and again.
See, Dave, you say simple though, but the PT-22's got a reputation because it's got slightly swept wings. It's got a real fierce stall spin reputation, so you need to watch that.
Right.
Just in case you get one, be careful. Johnny?
Yeah, I've gone for a Lockheed Altair, which there was a very famous one called the Lady Southern Cross. And the owner was Sir Charles Kingsford Smith, who by the time he bought it was a celebrity because he'd flown across the Pacific from San Francisco to Hawaii to Fiji and then to Australia. And then he ended up actually going missing. He bought this airplane to compete in the UK to Australia air race. He was trying to beat the record from Charles Scott, who'd done it in the de Havilland Comet. But Charles and his engineer, whose name I've forgotten, but Pettybridge. I know his surname, Pettybridge. Anyway, they were en route from Burma to Singapore in this aeroplane, and then just disappeared over the sea. So,
What's happening with the canopy on that?
It's a tandem aeroplane.
Yeah,
tandem 2 seats. But and Lockheed Altair, great aeroplane, and someone is there's a couple in museums, but someone is actually recreating one to fly. So.
I've gone large. I must admit, you've all gone a bit small. I've kind of got no ambition for Fantasy Hangar. So I've gone for a DC-6. This particular DC-6 was owned by Tito, who may have been the Yugoslavian pretty cruel dictator, but this one's owned by Red Bull. They completely refurbished it. I mean, just look at that. It's just absolutely stunning, isn't it? It kind of looks a bit like, it's probably almost as difficult as Bertha. But I reckon that DC-6, which I happen to have had a ride in at some point many years ago as well, is definitely my celebrity. Okay, Tito's a slightly dodgy celebrity, being that he kind of was a ruthless dictator, but the aeroplane was great. So I'm going for a DC-6, which, Ed, just leaves you.
Just leaves me, and I'm watching the comments because there's some good suggestions in there. But I went for, so don't show it yet, but I went for a flying boat owned by Howard Hughes. And I know you're all going to think Spruce Goose, but it's not the Spruce Goose. It's an aeroplane Spruce Goose is cool, but it's just way too big. So I went for the Sikorsky S-43. It's often referred to as the baby clipper because it's the smaller twin-engine version of Sikorsky's four-engine S-42. The S-43 first flew in 1935. You could take between 18 and 25 passengers. Pan American World Airways used them for flights to Cuba and Latin America. Hughes ordered his S-43 in 1937. He was going to fly it around the world. Ran into some certification issues with a big fuel tank and stuff, ended up using a Lockheed Electra. He had an accident with it on Lake Mead and it sank. He had it recovered. Put an absolutely sumptuous cabin in it and used it then for the rest of its life as a mobile boardroom for ferrying business partners and movie starlets around. He made his last flight in it in 1952, and he kept it locked away until 1988. It would have been a really good barn find for someone like you, Jimmy. And it was restored to fly, and then it flew up to 2001, and then fell into non-use again. Kermit Weeks now owns it. Famously, Kermit said that Howard came to him in a dream and said, "You should buy the aeroplane." So Kermit did, and Kermit's having it restored to flight now. But I just think that Sikorsky is just, I would happily not fly it and just look at it in the corner of my fancy hangar. I think it's beautiful.
I mean, I know Kermit owns a lot of airplanes and he does a lot of great work in aviation, etc., etc., etc. But it came to me in a dream. Really?
I know, yeah. I think Kermit's probably the only person who owns more airplanes than Jimmy, really. So
yeah.
That's a fact. It's based right around the corner from me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're not far away from him, are you? So
no. So what have we got in the comments then, Ed?
What have we got in the comments? There's some really good suggestions. It's I
like this one.
Yeah, no, we'll ignore that one. Catkin said, "Oh, I'd have the Mollinsons DH-88. Of course, they were fairly famous for their time." Steve McQueen, that I'd forgotten this, owned a Pitcairn mail wing. That is very cool. I'm guessing Long Easy, that's going to be the John Denver aeroplane. John Travolta owned a Model 749 Constellation. That's true. That would be quite a nice choice. I know Ian really dislikes the Constellation nose wheel. Michael Ward says Ian tonight. Jimmy Stewart had a Stinson HW75. Yeah. Maureen O'Hara owned a short Sandringham. Yeah. Very good point. Tom Cruise's P-51. Aviator Steve, change your mind. Ed wins. So, Cheryl Pratt, who was the winner of our PPL starter kit at the Flyer Club Fly-In at Leicester on the weekend. She loves flying boats. She votes Ed. Ed wins. There we go. Paul Cadell. That would have been a second choice, I think, for me, Paul. The Thunderbird Racing Mustang. Jimmy, you must have seen that. You were at Oshkosh.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So are we going to see you at Oshkosh next year with your fuselage on a?
That's
truck?
right. The Elvis jet will be at Oshkosh, 2024.
Great.
Will you camp with that in Camp Scholler?
Oh Lord, I hope not. I hope it's. What I'd love to see is a Lockheed Jetstar in the middle of Boeing Plaza.
Well, I think we should start campaigning for that now. I think if that doesn't happen, if you can't be the only person to drive a Jetstar camper onto Boeing Plaza, then the world is wrong somewhere.
Would it be?
That's right.
Would it be too dodgy to say that you could get Paddy Wagstaff to drive it there?
Well, she does a lot more aerobatic stuff, so I'm just going to keep this one sunny side up.
Okay, fair enough. Right, I think on that note, we're going to say thank you very much, Jimmy. We look forward to seeing the video tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Get in touch if you're going to come over to the UK. We'll show you a few old aircraft and a few places like that. We might even pay a few of your landing fees. We can.
There you go. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be with you today.
It's a great one. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Wasn't he a great guest?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's I don't know. We've thought about we should get our own project at some point, but we're just all too busy doing other stuff, aren't we? That's trouble. Right. Did we get any? Can anyone remember all as far back to the question of the week? How many aircraft people have owned?
I tell you what. There was. I saw it. Here we go. Yes, the answer to question of the week. Paul Sengupta says 1. Katkin says 2. Jane says 0. Claire B 1. There was some really good ones. There was a lot of 1s and 2s. Paul Fraser Benetton up the ante with 7. That's quite good going.
Wow.
And Dan Smith 7. But Katkin then said, "I'm a shareholder in my company, so that means I've got another 30." However. There was a really, I missed it. Where was it? There was a really good, Skycrow, loads. I would work it out. Never came up with a number, but I was figuring that he would come up with a number to beat everyone except maybe Jimmy. So
currently to be seen flying a yellow 2-stroke
Yes. Yeah.
What's it?
He was slightly self-deprecating of his own airplane.
What's it called? What's it called? I can't
It's
remember.
CFM Shadow, I think, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, Street Shadow. CFM Street Shadow.
Yeah.
There you go.
John O'Holland says 21.
No,
Wow. Holy cow.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. Right. Dave, events. Just have a quick rattle through events as we're running late already.
Yep, this is probably the last busy weekend of the year with, on Saturday, microlight flying at Sutton Meadows in Cambridgeshire, Dean Lamb breakfast flying near Lewes in East Sussex, vintage flying at Compton Abbas, and a flying and barbecue at Western Zoyland in Somerset. Sorry about my Somerset accent. Saturday and Sunday, Battle of Britain Air Show at Duxford, and on Sunday, the Manston flying at Kent. PPR essential for that. In fact, that's on. All these are, you can look at the flyer website, the events section, and pick up details there.
I just noticed this in the comments that Europa guy. Ian's name is on my Europa build sheet. So I'm going to put my number from 3 to 4 then in that case. Although it wasn't a cool feeling when I owned a part of it.
So, have you ever met up with that Europa? I feel this should be a video.
It should be a video, shouldn't it? We could open it to that kind of romantic music and the Europa coming out of the mist.
Airplanes that Ian has built.
Running towards it.
Yes. Yes, because let's not forget, you did pull a rivet on the EAA 1 Week Wonder aeroplane.
Yeah, I don't think that meant I owned it, though, does it?
No, it doesn't mean you own it, but aeroplanes that Ian has built, too.
Yeah, 2. That's true, actually. And I think I've flown that one as well.
Yes. Yeah, because we put you back in it afterwards, didn't we? So,
yeah.
Very good. Well, it's great to be back.
It's great to be back. Thank you very much for joining. If you're not a member of the club, please come on and be a member. It's £5 a month. It's got to be a bargain, hasn't it? And we really appreciate it because we can't do it all for nothing. We've got to keep Ed's fleet going and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So, yes, jolly good. Are you a flight? No. Thank you very much. Great. On that basis, I think thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing you next week. We've got a very special guest next week. Can we release the name yet or not?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Okay. Famous Spitfire pilot.
Ah, okay.
That narrows it a bit. I'm not going to release it just in case we can't. But anyway, so there you go. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We will see you real soon now.
Right. Fly safe, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Good one.
Bye.